The bistro was too bright. That was the first thing Nadia noticed as she sat alone at the corner table, her fingers wrapped around a glass of water she hadn't asked for. The kind of brightness that made everything feel exposed. The white marble tables, the gold-trimmed menus, the careful distance between each dining party. She checked her phone again. 7:47 p.m. Marcus was 20 minutes late. Her sister Tasha had set this up. He's nice, diameter. Works in finance. Has his life together. Just give it a chance, okay? Tasha's voice had been so hopeful, so insistent, that Nadia had finally agreed. One date. What could it hurt? She smoothed down the front of her navy dress, the nicest thing she owned, bought 3 years ago for a funeral. Her purse sat in her lap, and inside it, folded carefully in her wallet, was a $5 bill. It was all she had until Friday's paycheck. Rent had come due. Her mother's medication didn't pay for itself. The waiter passed by for the third time, his eyes sliding over her like she was part of the furniture. 7:51 p.m. Then she saw him. Marcus walked in with the confidence of someone who'd never waited for anything. Tall, well-dressed, phone pressed to his ear. He spotted her, held up one finger, 1 minute, and kept talking. Nadia's stomach tightened. He finally sat down 5 minutes later, barely looking at her as he pocketed his phone. Nadia. Yes. Hi. Marcus. No handshake. No smile. His eyes flicked over her, the dress, the lack of jewelry, the second-hand purse, and something shifted in his expression. Something she'd seen before but never got used to. Disappointment. So, he said, leaning back in his chair. Tasha says you're in hospitality? The way he said it made her profession sound like a question mark. I'm a housekeeper, Nadia said quietly, lifting her chin slightly. I work in a private residence. Right. Right. He nodded slowly, already scanning the menu. That's nice. The waiter appeared instantly for Marcus. Funny how that worked. I'll have the seared salmon, side of asparagus, and a glass of the Pinot Grigio, Marcus said without looking up. The waiter turned to Nadia. And for you, miss? She felt the weight of the $5 in her purse. Felt Marcus watching her now, finally paying attention. Just, water is fine. Thank you. Marcus's eyebrows lifted. You're not eating? I ate before I came, she lied softly. Something cruel flickered across his face. Almost like amusement. You ate before a dinner date. I wasn't sure what time we'd. It's fine. He waved a hand, dismissive. Probably better anyway. Saves me the trouble. Nadia's hands stilled in her lap. The waiter hesitated, then left. Marcus leaned forward, his voice dropping to a tone that might have sounded kind to someone who didn't know better. Look, I'm gonna be straight with you. Tasha's great and all, but I think there's been a miscommunication here. About what? About what I'm looking for. His smile didn't reach his eyes. I'm at a point in my life where I need someone who complements my lifestyle. You understand? Someone established. Someone who can hold a conversation at a networking event, who knows how to move in certain circles. Each word landed like a stone. I can hold a conversation, Nadia said quietly, her voice steady even as her chest tightened. I'm sure you can. But let's be real, you clean houses for a living. That's fine, it's honest work, but it's not exactly. He trailed off, letting the silence finish his sentence. Nadia felt something crack inside her. Not break, just crack. The kind of fracture that's been forming for years, waiting for one more moment like this. She stood slowly, with the same grace she used when moving through rooms that weren't hers, when she made herself small so as not to disturb the important people. Thank you for your honesty, she said softly. Marcus blinked, surprised she was leaving. Wait, I wasn't trying to. It's okay. And somehow, she even smiled. Small, dignified. I hope you enjoy your salmon. She walked out of that too-bright bistro with her head up, her second-hand purse clutched against her side, and her $5 still folded in her wallet. She made it 3 blocks before she had to stop. Before she had to lean against the cool brick of a closed bookstore and let herself feel it, the weight of being looked at and found lacking. Again. Always again. The evening air was cool against her face. Somewhere above the city lights, stars existed. She couldn't see them, but she knew they were there. She didn't cry. She'd stopped crying about this a long time ago. What she didn't know, what she couldn't have known, was that someone had seen everything. Julian Cross sat in his town car across the street, stuck in traffic on his way home from a board meeting. His driver had taken an alternate route through the restaurant district. Julian had been reviewing documents on his tablet when movement caught his eye. A woman in a navy dress, walking out of Belavia Bistro alone. His housekeeper, Nadia. He watched as she stopped 3 blocks down, as she leaned against a building, as her shoulders curved inward just slightly, a moment of private pain she thought no one would witness. Something uncomfortable twisted in Julian's chest. He'd employed Nadia for 2 years. She came Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. She was punctual, thorough, invisible in the way good help was supposed to be. He barely spoke to her beyond basic instructions. He knew nothing about her life. But he'd noticed things. The way she handled his books carefully, sometimes pausing to read a spine. The way she always left a window cracked open because she believed rooms needed to breathe. The way she moved through his space like water, present but unobtrusive, essential but unacknowledged. "Sir," his driver asked. "We're clear to proceed." Julian's eyes stayed on Nadia's distant figure. "Take the long way home," he said quietly. "Sir. Just drive slowly." He didn't know why he said it. Didn't know why he couldn't look away from a woman he barely knew, standing alone on a street corner, holding herself together in a way that suggested she'd had a lot of practice. He didn't know that this moment, this small witnessed moment, would change everything. But it would. Nadia had learned early that some spaces weren't meant for her. She was 7 the first time she understood it. Her mother, Lorraine, had taken her along to work, a sprawling house in the suburbs with columns out front and a chandelier that looked like frozen waterfalls. While Lorraine cleaned, Nadia sat in the kitchen doing homework, trying to be quiet, trying to be invisible. The woman who owned the house had come in, seen Nadia at the table, and smiled that particular smile. The one that wasn't unkind, exactly, but carried a message. "She's adorable," the woman had said to Lorraine, not to Nadia. "But maybe next time she could wait in the car? I just prefer to keep work and personal separate." Nadia had been 7, and she'd understood. She was part of the work. Her mother never complained. Lorraine Winters had cleaned houses for 30 years with her head high and her hands steady. "There's dignity in what we do," she'd tell Nadia. "We make spaces beautiful for people. That matters. Don't ever let anyone make you feel small for honest work." Nadia had believed her. She still believed her. But believing something and feeling it in your bones were different things. Now, at 34, Nadia had her own route. 5 regular clients, 3 days a week each. It paid enough for her small apartment in a neighborhood where the streetlights worked most of the time. Enough for groceries. Enough for her mother's assisted living facility and the medications Medicare didn't cover. Not enough for much else. Not enough for the kind of life Marcus had looked at her and decided she didn't deserve. On Monday morning, Nadia stood outside Julian Cross's building at 8:55 a.m., same as always. The doorman, Peter, nodded at her with genuine warmth. "Morning, Ms. Winters." "Morning, Peter." She took the service elevator to the penthouse, let herself in with the key Julian had given her 2 years ago when his assistant hired her. The agency had called it a premium placement, wealthy client, minimal supervision, generous pay. The apartment was exactly as she'd left it Friday, pristine, empty, cold. Julian Cross was rarely home when she cleaned. He left early, came back late. Sometimes she saw evidence of his life, a coffee cup in the sink, a book left open on the sofa, a tie draped over a chair, but rarely the man himself. Which was fine. Most clients preferred it that way. She moved through her routine with practiced efficiency. Started with the kitchen, then the living room with its floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. The space was beautiful in an austere way, expensive furniture, original art on the walls, everything in shades of gray and black and white. No photographs. No clutter. Nothing that suggested someone actually lived here. She was dusting the bookshelf in his study when she paused, as she sometimes did, to look at the titles. Philosophy, architecture, history, literature, Toni Morrison, James Baldwin, Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Books that had been read, their spines creased with use. Her fingers traced the edge of Beloved. She'd read it once years ago, in the community college class she'd taken before everything fell apart. Before her mother's stroke. Before she'd had to choose between finishing her degree and keeping the lights on. Most people don't touch the books. Nadia jumped, spinning around. Julian Cross stood in the doorway of his study, briefcase in hand, watching her. Her heart hammered. "I'm sorry. I was just dusting." "It's fine." He set down his briefcase, loosened his tie. He looked tired. There were shadows under his eyes she'd never noticed before. "I came back for a file I forgot. I can step out. Let you." "No need." He moved to his desk, started rifling through papers. "Have you read it? Beloved?" Nadia hesitated. Clients didn't usually ask her questions like that. Didn't usually acknowledge her as someone who might read. "Yes," she said quietly. "A long time ago." "What did you think?" She could have deflected. Could have said something brief and moved on. But something about the way he asked, genuinely curious, not testing her, made her answer honestly. "I think it's about how the past doesn't stay buried. How we carry our ghosts with us, even when we're trying to move forward." She paused. "And about the things love makes us do. Even terrible things." Julian stopped searching. Looked at her fully for what might have been the first time in 2 years. Really looked. Yes, he said slowly. "That's exactly what it's about." Silence stretched between them. Not uncomfortable. Just present. "I should let you work," he said finally, finding his file. "I'm sorry for the interruption." "It's your home, Mr. Cross. You're not interrupting anything." He paused at the door. "Julian." "Sir." "Call me Julian." "Mr. Cross makes me feel like I'm being audited." The corner of her mouth lifted slightly. "All right." He left. Nadia stood in his study for a long moment, her hand still resting on the shelf, her pulse still elevated. It was nothing. A brief exchange. Meaningless. So why did it feel like something had shifted? Julian sat in his car outside his own building, the forgotten file in his lap, and tried to remember the last time someone had surprised him. Nadia Winters. His housekeeper for 2 years. And he'd never once asked her about herself. He'd seen her Friday night, humiliated by some fool in an overpriced bistro. Seen her walk away with more grace than most people he knew possessed. Seen her moment of private pain. And now he'd heard her talk about Toni Morrison with a kind of insight that suggested a mind that thought deeply about things, that engaged with the world beyond the surface. How had he never noticed? He thought about his life. The endless meetings. The investors who smiled too widely. The women his friends tried to set him up with, beautiful, accomplished, and utterly predictable. Everyone wanted something. Everyone performed. No one was real. He'd built his first company at 25 with money borrowed from a friend and sleep deprivation that nearly killed him. He'd grown up in a neighborhood where mothers worked 3 jobs and rent was always late. He knew what it was like to be invisible. And somehow, he'd become the kind of person who made others invisible. His phone buzzed. His assistant, reminding him about his 11 a.m. Julian looked up at his building, at the penthouse windows. He thought about Nadia moving through those empty rooms, making everything beautiful, unwitnessed and unacknowledged. Something uncomfortable settled in his chest. Guilt, maybe. Or recognition. That evening, Nadia sat in her small apartment with a cup of tea and her mother's voice on speakerphone. How was your weekend, baby? Nadia thought about Marcus. About the bistro. About $5 and the look in his eyes. It was fine, Mama. Quiet. You sound tired. I'm always tired. She smiled even though her mother couldn't see it. How are you feeling? How's the new medication? Oh, you know, some days better than others. Lorraine's voice was warm, musical even after the stroke had stolen some of her words. But I'm not calling about me. I'm calling about you. I'm fine. Nadia Lorraine Winters, I raised you. I know you're fine, voice. Despite everything, Nadia laughed softly. Really, Mama? I'm okay. You work too hard. You need more than work in your life. I have you. I mean someone your own age. Someone to laugh with. Someone to... Mama. I'm just saying, you're 34 years old and beautiful and smart, and you spend all your time taking care of everyone else. That's what you taught me. I taught you to be strong, not to be alone. Lorraine's voice softened. There's a difference, baby. After they hung up, Nadia sat in the dark of her apartment, tea going cold in her hands. Her mother was right. She was alone. Had been for a long time. And she'd learned to wear her aloneness like armor, protection against nights like Friday, against men like Marcus, against a world that saw her hands before it saw her heart. But armor was heavy. And she was so tired of carrying it. It started small. Wednesday morning, Nadia arrived to find a note on the kitchen counter, written in clean, precise handwriting. Good morning. I noticed the espresso machine wasn't working properly last week. I've had it repaired. Feel free to make yourself coffee whenever you'd like. J. Nadia stared at the note for a long moment. In 2 years, Julian had never left her a note. Never suggested she help herself to anything. Most clients had rules. Don't eat the food, don't sit on the furniture, don't touch anything you don't have to clean. She made herself a coffee. It felt like a small rebellion. The following Monday, she was cleaning the living room when Julian came home unexpectedly at noon. He looked startled to see her, then seemed to remember it was Monday. I'm sorry, Nadia said immediately, reaching for her supplies. I can come back. No, please. Don't leave on my account. He set down his bag, ran a hand through his hair. He looked disheveled in a way she'd never seen. Tie loose, sleeves rolled up, exhaustion etched into his features. I just needed to get out of the office for an hour. She nodded, tried to make herself invisible the way she usually did. But then he did something unexpected. He sat down on the sofa, the one she just finished cleaning, and let out a long breath. Just sat there, like a man who'd forgotten how to rest. Nadia hesitated, then quietly continued her work, dusting the shelves across the room. Do you ever feel like you're living someone else's life? Julian asked suddenly. She froze, unsure if he was talking to her or to himself. When she didn't answer, he looked up. I'm sorry. You don't have to respond to that. But something in his voice, the rawness of it, made her turn to face him. Sometimes, she said softly. Yes. Their eyes met across the room. I spent 15 years building something I believed in, he continued, as if her simple answer had unlocked something. And now it's successful, and I spend my days in meetings about market shares and investor relations. I barely recognize what it's become, what I've become. Nadia set down her dust cloth slowly. What did you build? Software for public schools. Educational tools for underfunded districts. A bitter smile touched his lips. I grew up in those schools. I knew what they needed. Now we're pivoting to private institutions because that's where the money is, and I sit in boardrooms and smile and agree to things I would have hated 10 years ago. Why do you agree? Because that's what you do when you have investors, when you have shareholders, when you have 2,000 employees depending on you. He looked at her. You compromise, little by little, until one day you look around and realize you've compromised yourself into a corner. Nadia was quiet for a moment. Then carefully, she said, "My mother used to tell me that when you're cleaning a house, you start with the room that matters most. Not the room that looks the worst, but the one where people actually live, where they gather, where they feel safe." She paused. Maybe companies are the same way. Maybe you don't have to fix everything at once. Just the room that matters most. Julian stared at her. Really stared. Like he was seeing something he hadn't expected to find. That's... He laughed softly, surprised. "That's really good advice." Nadia felt heat rise to her cheeks. "It's just something my mother says." "She sounds wise." "She is." They fell into silence again, but this time it felt different. Warmer. Like they were two people sharing a space rather than employer and employee occupying separate worlds. "I should let you work," Julian said finally, standing. But he didn't move toward the door. "Nadia." "Yes. Thank you. For listening. And for the coffee advice." She smiled slightly. "I didn't give you coffee advice." "No, but you made yourself a cup earlier. I heard the espresso machine. It made the apartment feel." He searched for the word. "Lived in." He left for his bedroom to change, and Nadia stood in the middle of his living room with her heart doing something strange and fluttery in her chest. It was nothing, she told herself. Just a man having a bad day. Just a conversation. Nothing. But then it kept happening. On Wednesday, Julian was there again when she arrived. He'd clearly been up all night, still in yesterday's clothes, laptop open on the dining table, coffee cups scattered around him. Rough night? Nadia asked before she could stop herself. He looked up, bleary-eyed. Board meeting in Tokyo. Time zones are brutal. Have you eaten? He frowned, like he couldn't remember. No. Nadia set down her cleaning supplies. I'm going to make you breakfast. You don't have to. I know. She moved into his kitchen like she owned it, finding eggs, bread, cheese. She made him a simple omelet and toast, nothing fancy, but she cooked it the way her mother had taught her, with attention, with care. When she set the plate in front of him, Julian looked at it like she'd performed magic. When's the last time someone cooked for you? She asked. I genuinely can't remember. He ate slowly, and she noticed the way his shoulders gradually relaxed, the way some of the tension left his face. This is perfect, he said quietly. Thank you. It's just eggs. No. He met her eyes. It's not. The following week, Nadia arrived to find music playing. Not the silence she was used to, but jazz, something smooth and old, drifting from hidden speakers. Julian was in the kitchen, attempting to make coffee and failing spectacularly. I can't figure out this thing, he admitted, gesturing at the espresso machine with genuine frustration. I watch you do it and it looks simple, but apparently I'm incompetent. Nadia couldn't help it, she laughed. Actually laughed. Julian looked up, startled, and then his whole face transformed. He smiled. Really smiled, and it made him look years younger, almost boyish. Are you laughing at me? No, she said, still smiling. Maybe a little. I have 3 engineering degrees. And yet. She moved beside him, gently taking over. Here. You have to tamp the grounds down evenly. Like this. Too loose and it's weak. Too tight and it won't flow. She was acutely aware of how close they were standing. Close enough that she could smell his cologne, something subtle, cedar and citrus. Close enough to feel the warmth radiating from him. There's a metaphor in there somewhere, Julian said softly, watching her hands. For what? Life. Pressure. Balance. He paused, knowing when to hold tight and when to let go. She handed him the finished espresso, their fingers brushing briefly. Philosophy at 9 a.m., she asked lightly, trying to ignore the electricity of that small touch. Sorry. Hazard of insomnia and too much thinking. They stood in his kitchen, drinking coffee together as morning light spilled through the windows, and Nadia felt something dangerous blooming in her chest. Hope. It became a pattern, though neither of them acknowledged it. Julian started being home more often when she cleaned. Not hovering, not watching her work, just present. Reading in his study while she organized his books. Working on his laptop at the dining table while she cleaned the kitchen. They talked. Small things at first. About books. About the city. About the weather and the news and nothing important. But gradually, deeper things. He told her about growing up poor, about his mother working night shifts, about teaching himself to code in the public library because they couldn't afford a computer. She told him about her mother, about community college, about the literature degree she'd started and never finished. "Why didn't you finish?" he asked one afternoon. "Life," she said simply. "My mom got sick. Someone had to work." That must have been hard. Giving up something you loved. Nadia was quiet for a moment. You don't give it up. You just fold it smaller. Carry it differently. Julian looked at her with something in his eyes she couldn't name. "You're extraordinary," he said softly. "You know that." Nadia's heart stuttered. "I'm really not." "Yes," he said firmly. "You are." On a Friday in early autumn, Nadia was leaving for the day when she noticed Julian standing by the window, staring out at the city. "Are you okay?" she asked. He turned. "Do you ever feel invisible? Like you're surrounded by people, but nobody actually sees you?" She thought about Marcus. About the bistro. About a lifetime of being looked through. "Every day," she said honestly. "How do you bear it?" "I remind myself that being invisible means people don't perform for me. They don't pretend. And sometimes someone actually looks. Really looks. And that one moment makes up for all the rest." Julian crossed the room slowly. Stopped in front of her. Close enough that she had to tilt her head back slightly to meet his eyes. "I see you," he said quietly. "Nadia, I see you." The words hung between them, heavy with meaning. She couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. All she could do was whisper, "I see you too." For a moment, one crystalline moment, she thought he might kiss her. But then his phone buzzed, shattering the spell. He stepped back. Cleared his throat. "I'm sorry. I should let you go. It's late." "Right. Yes." She gathered her things quickly, her hands trembling slightly. "I'll see you Monday." "Monday," he agreed. She left his apartment with her heart racing and her mind spinning and the feeling that something irrevocable had just happened. Something neither of them could take back. That night, Julian stood alone in his empty penthouse, still smelling the faint scent of her perfume, something soft, like vanilla and clean cotton. He was falling for his housekeeper. The realization should have terrified him. Instead, it felt like waking up. Nadia stopped sleeping well. She'd lie awake in her small apartment, staring at the ceiling, replaying moments. The way Julian had looked at her. The way he'd said, "I see you," like it was a confession. The warmth of standing close to him in his kitchen, teaching him to make coffee like it was the most natural thing in the world. And then she'd remember who she was. Who he was. The distance between their worlds wasn't just about money, though there was that. It was about belonging. About the spaces people like her were allowed to occupy, and for how long, and under what conditions. She'd been the help her entire life. She knew how this story ended. Monday morning, she almost called in sick. But Nadia Winters didn't call in sick. Didn't shirk responsibility. Didn't hide from discomfort. So she went. The apartment was empty when she arrived, and she felt both relief and disappointment twist together in her chest. She cleaned methodically, trying not to think about him. Trying not to notice the book he'd left on the coffee table, The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. She knew that book. Knew it was about a butler who'd spent his whole life serving, who'd loved someone he could never have, who'd realized too late that dignity and devotion weren't the same as living. Was that a message? Or was she reading into things that weren't there? She was wiping down the kitchen counter when she heard the door open. Julian came in, suited and composed, and the air immediately felt thinner. Nadia. Hi. Mr. Cross. The formality slipped out before she could stop it. Something flickered across his face. Julian. Remember. Right. Sorry. Awkward silence stretched between them, so different from the easy conversations they'd been having. The magic of last Friday felt like a dream now, something she'd imagined. I have a meeting in an hour, Julian said, setting down his briefcase. But I wanted to. I've been thinking about what I said last week. Nadia's hands stilled. You don't have to. I do. He moved closer, careful, like approaching something fragile. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. This is your workplace. I'm your employer. I shouldn't have said what I said. Each word was careful, professional, appropriate, and it hurt more than if he'd said nothing at all. It's fine, Nadia said quietly. I understand. Do you? She forced herself to meet his eyes. You were having a moment. It happens. We can forget about it. What if I don't want to forget about it? Her breath caught. Julian. I know this is complicated. I know there are about 1,000 reasons why this is a terrible idea. He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. But I can't stop thinking about you. And I don't know what to do with that. Nadia's heart was hammering so hard she was sure he could hear it. You don't do anything with it, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Because it can't go anywhere. You know that. Why not? Because I work for you. Because you're, she gestured around the penthouse. And I'm the person who cleans it. Because the world doesn't work the way we'd like it to. The world can be changed. Not by people like me. Don't do that. His voice was sharp now, almost angry. Don't diminish yourself. You're one of the most intelligent, thoughtful people I've ever met. Your work doesn't define your worth. Maybe not, Nadia said quietly. But it defines how the world sees me. How your world sees me. I don't care what. You should. She picked up her cleaning supplies, needing something to hold on to. You should care. Because when your friends meet me, when your colleagues meet me, when your business partners meet me, what do you think they'll see? What do you think they'll say? Julian was quiet. Because he knew she was right. I should finish my work, Nadia said softly. You have a meeting. She walked past him, and he didn't stop her. But as she moved into the other room, she heard him say, almost to himself, I don't care what they think. She wanted desperately to believe him. 2 days later, Julian's assistant called. Ms. Winters? This is Claire, Mr. Cross's assistant. He wanted me to let you know that he won't be requiring your services on Friday. He'll be traveling for business. Oh. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. He also wanted me to inform you that your payment will continue as normal. That's not necessary. He insists. Have a good day, Ms. Winters. The line went dead. Nadia stared at her phone, feeling the sting of being managed through an assistant. Of distance being re-established. Of walls going back up. This was what she told him to do, wasn't it? So why did it hurt so much? Julian spent that week in San Francisco for investor meetings, and he was terrible company. You seem distracted, his CFO Marcus. Different Marcus, thank God, said over dinner with potential partners. Just tired. You're always tired. This is different. Marcus studied him. What's going on? Nothing. Bullshit. I've known you for 10 years. Something's eating at you. Julian was quiet for a long moment. Then, what would you say if I told you I had feelings for someone unexpected? Marcus raised an eyebrow. Unexpected how? Unexpected in every way. Does she feel the same? I think so. Maybe. I don't know. Julian rubbed his face. It doesn't matter. It's complicated. It's always complicated. That's what makes it interesting. What if everyone judged her because of me? What if being with me made her life harder? Marcus set down his drink. Julian, you're one of the best men I know. If someone judges her for being with you, that says everything about them and nothing about her. Or you. It's not that simple. It never is. But the question isn't whether it's simple. It's whether she's worth fighting for. Julian thought about Nadia. About the way she'd talked about Toni Morrison. About the breakfast she'd made him. About the quiet strength in her voice when she'd said every day to his question about invisibility. She is, he said quietly. She's worth everything. Nadia used her unexpected day off on Friday to visit her mother. Lorraine was having a good day, lucid and bright-eyed, sitting in the sunroom of the assisted living facility. "Baby girl," she said, lighting up when Nadia arrived. "I wasn't expecting you until Sunday." Schedule change. Nadia kissed her mother's cheek, settling into the chair beside her. "How are you feeling?" "Oh, can't complain." "Well, I could, but nobody wants to hear an old woman complain." Lorraine studied her daughter's face. "You look tired. Sad." "I'm fine, Mama." "Nadia." There was something about the way her mother said her name, the same way she'd said it when Nadia was 7 and lying about breaking a vase, or 16 and pretending she wasn't heartbroken over some boy. Nadia sighed. "I think I made a mistake." "What kind of mistake?" "The kind where you let yourself feel something you shouldn't feel." Understanding dawned in Lorraine's eyes. "A man. It doesn't matter. It can't go anywhere." "Why not?" "Because he's..." Nadia struggled for words. "He's not in my world, Mama. He's wealthy and successful and lives in a completely different universe. And I'm..." "You're what?" "Not good enough." "I didn't say that." "But you're thinking it." Lorraine reached for her daughter's hand. "Baby, listen to me. I spent 30 years cleaning houses for people who thought they were better than me. And you know what I learned? Money doesn't make people better. It just makes them louder. It's not about being better. It's about being realistic." "Realistic?" Lorraine scoffed gently. "You know what's realistic? That we spend most of our lives talking ourselves out of things that might make us happy because we're scared. Because we think we don't deserve them. Because the world told us to know our place." "Mama. When your father left, I told myself I didn't deserve love. That I should focus on you, on work, on surviving. And I did survive. But I didn't live, baby. Not really. I let fear make me small." Her grip tightened on Nadia's hand. "Don't do what I did. Don't make yourself small for people who wouldn't notice if you took up space." Tears pricked Nadia's eyes. "What if I take up space and he decides there's not enough room for me? Then he's a fool. But what if you don't, and spend the rest of your life wondering what if?" That same Friday evening, Julian sat alone in a San Francisco hotel room, staring at his phone. He'd typed and deleted 5 different messages to Nadia. "I'm sorry for making things awkward. I miss talking to you. Can we go back to how things were? I can't stop thinking about you. I'm falling in love with you and I don't know what to do about it." He sent none of them. Because Marcus was wrong. It wasn't about whether she was worth fighting for. Of course she was. It was about whether fighting for her would hurt her more than losing her would hurt him. He thought about what she'd said, "When your friends meet me, what do you think they'll see?" He thought about his world. The galas. The networking events. The dinner parties where people traded in status and connections. The subtle hierarchies. The unspoken rules. Could he really ask her to enter that? But then he thought about something else she'd said. Sometimes someone actually looks. Really looks. And that one moment makes up for all the rest. He'd looked. And he'd seen someone extraordinary. The question was, what was he going to do about it? Monday morning came cold and gray. Nadia stood outside Julian's building, steeling herself. She'd made a decision over the weekend, sitting with her mother's words. She was going to be honest. She was going to tell him how she felt, and if it went nowhere, at least she'd know she tried. At least she wouldn't spend the rest of her life wondering. She took the elevator up, let herself in, and stopped. Julian was there, sitting on the sofa, still in yesterday's clothes. Like he'd been up all night. He stood when he saw her. "Nadia, I was hoping you'd come early. I always come at 9. Right. Yes." He looked nervous. This confident billionaire looked nervous. "I need to tell you something. I need to tell you something too." They spoke at the same time, then stopped. "You first," Nadia said. Julian took a breath. "I've been thinking all week. About what you said. About my world and how it might see you. And you were right. Some people would judge you. Some people would make assumptions. Some people would be cruel." Nadia's heart sank. This was him letting her down gently. "But here's what I realized," he continued, moving closer. "Those people don't matter. Their opinions don't matter. The only thing that matters is how I see you. And I see someone brilliant and kind and real in a world where almost nothing feels real anymore." He paused. "I see someone I'm falling in love with." The world tilted. "You're what?" "I'm falling in love with you, Nadia. And I don't care who knows it. I don't care what they think. I only care what you think. What you feel." She couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Could only feel the impossible hope blooming in her chest. She swallowed hard. "I came here to tell you the same thing." His eyes widened. "You did." "I'm terrified," she admitted. "I'm terrified of what this means. Of how hard this might be. Of all the ways it could go wrong." "Me too. But I can't stop thinking about you. Can't stop wanting to know what would happen if we tried." Julian closed the distance between them, stopping just inches away. Close enough that she could feel the heat of him. Close enough to see the hope and fear and longing in his eyes. "So let's try," he said softly. "Let's be terrified together." "Okay," she whispered. "Okay." "Yes." He smiled then, that boyish, transformative smile, and cupped her face gently in his hands. "Can I kiss you?" he asked, and the fact that he asked, that he gave her the choice, made her fall a little more. "Please." He kissed her softly, carefully, like she was something precious. And Nadia, who'd spent so long making herself small, let herself take up space. Let herself be fully present in this moment, in this feeling, in this impossible thing blooming between them. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless, Julian rested his forehead against hers. "What do we do now?" he asked. "I don't know," she admitted. "I've never done this before." "Neither have I. Not like this. So we figure it out as we go." "Together," he said. "Together." But outside, in the real world beyond his penthouse windows, forces were already moving. Julian's assistant had seen Nadia arrive early, seen the way her boss had been waiting. She'd worked for Julian long enough to recognize the signs. And she'd seen what happened when powerful men got involved with inappropriate women. It never ended well for the women. Claire picked up her phone and made a call she'd been considering all week. "Mr. Harrison? It's Claire from Mr. Cross's office. I think there's something you should know about Julian's recent distraction." The struggle wasn't over. It was just beginning. For 3 weeks, they existed in a careful bubble. Julian would come home early. They'd cook dinner together, Nadia teaching him her mother's recipes, Julian attempting and failing spectacularly, both of them laughing in his kitchen like they'd known each other forever. They'd talk for hours about everything and nothing. About books and dreams and the lives they'd lived before finding each other. He kissed her goodnight at the door, never asking for more than she was ready to give. It felt fragile and perfect and too good to last. It didn't. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon while Nadia was visiting her mother. "Ms. Winters, this is Robert Harrison, chairman of Cross Technologies Board. I'd like to meet with you. Today, if possible." Her stomach dropped. "About what?" "I think you know." She did. They met at a cafe near her apartment. His choice, not hers. Harrison was in his 60s, silver-haired, impeccably dressed. He ordered nothing. This wasn't a social call. "I'll be direct," he said. "Your relationship with Julian Cross is a liability." "Excuse me?" Julian is the face of a billion-dollar company. His personal life reflects on our brand, our investors, our stakeholders. Harrison's voice was cold, clinical. A relationship with his housekeeper creates optics issues. Nadia felt something sharp twist in her chest. Optics issues. "You seem like a nice woman. I'm sure you care about him. So you understand why this needs to end. That's not your decision to make." "No. But I can make his life very difficult. I can call board meetings. Question his judgment. Make him choose between you and the company he built." Harrison leaned forward. "Or you can make this easy. Walk away. I'm prepared to offer you $50,000. Enough to change your life. Take care of your mother. Maybe finish that degree you started." The fact that he knew about her mother, about college, made her feel violated. "I'm not for sale." "Everyone's for sale, Ms. Winters. It's just a matter of price." He slid an envelope across the table. "Think about it. You have 48 hours. He left. Nadia sat alone, staring at the envelope, feeling the careful bubble they'd built begin to crack. She didn't tell Julian. She spent 2 days agonizing, playing it over and over. She thought about what Harrison said, about being a liability, about optics, about making Julian choose between her and everything he'd worked for. She thought about Marcus in that Too Bright bistro, about a lifetime of being seen as less than, about her $5 and her secondhand purse and the look in people's eyes when they learned what she did for a living. Maybe Harrison was right. Maybe love wasn't enough. Friday evening, she went to Julian's apartment to end it. He opened the door with that smile, the one that made her heart hurt. "Hey you. I was just about to call you. I made reservations at..." He stopped, seeing her face. "What's wrong?" "We need to talk." They sat in his living room, and Nadia tried to find words that wouldn't destroy them both. "I don't think this is working," she said quietly. Julian went very still. "What?" "Us. This. I don't think we should keep doing this." "Where is this coming from? 3 days ago we were fine." "We were." He reached for her hand. "Nadia, what happened?" She pulled away. "Had to, or she'd break." "Nothing happened. I've been thinking. About what this looks like. About what it means. And I don't think I can do this." "You're lying." "I'm not." "Yes, you are." His voice was firm but gentle. "I know you. Something happened. Tell me." And that's when she broke. "Harrison came to see me," she whispered. "Your board chairman. He offered me money to leave you. Told me I was a liability. An optics problem." Tears spilled over. "And he's right, Julian. He's right. I'm going to ruin everything you've built. People are going to judge you for being with me. Your board, your investors, everyone in your world. They're going to see me and think you've lost your mind." "Let them. You can't mean that." "I absolutely mean that." Julian moved closer, cupping her face, making her look at him. "Nadia, listen to me. I don't care what Harrison thinks. I don't care what the board thinks. I don't care what anyone thinks except you. But your company is just a company. It's not my life. You are." His voice cracked slightly. "You are my life now. Don't you understand that?" "I'm scared," she whispered. "So am I. I'm terrified. But I'm more terrified of losing you than I am of anything Harrison can do to me. What if it's not enough? What if I'm not?" "Don't." He pressed his forehead to hers. "Don't you dare say you're not enough. You are everything. You are the first real thing I've felt in years. You make me laugh. You make me think. You make me want to be better. You see me, really see me, and I see you, and that is worth more than every dollar in my bank account. Julian. I love you, he said simply. I'm in love with you, Nadia Winters. Completely. Hopelessly. And I don't want to live in a world where I have to pretend I don't. She was crying fully now. I love you too. So much it scares me. Then be scared with me. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. We'll figure it out. Together. I promise. What about Harrison? The board. Julian pulled back, and something fierce entered his eyes. Let me worry about that. Monday morning, Julian called an emergency board meeting. Harrison sat at the head of the table, smug and confident. Julian, glad you've come to your senses. I have, Julian said calmly. Just not the way you think. He placed a folder on the table. Inside, you'll find my proposal to restructure the company's educational division, the one we've been neglecting in favor of private sector contracts. I'm proposing we return to our original mission, serving underfunded public schools. It'll mean less profit short-term, but it's the right thing to do. Harrison's face darkened. The board will never approve. I have the majority shares. I don't need approval. Julian's voice was steel. I also want to address something personal. Robert Harrison approached Nadia Winters, someone I care deeply about, and attempted to bribe her into leaving me. He invaded her privacy, investigated her background, and used his position on this board to intimidate her. Shocked silence around the table. That behavior is unacceptable. I'm asking for your resignation, Robert. Effective immediately. You can't. I can. And I am. Because I built this company on the belief that everyone deserves respect. Everyone. Regardless of their income, their profession, or their background. Julian looked around the table. If anyone else has a problem with who I choose to love, you're welcome to leave too. But I won't apologize for being with someone who makes me a better person. Someone who reminds me why I started this company in the first place. Harrison stood, furious. You're making a mistake. No, Julian said quietly. I'm correcting one. That evening, Julian found Nadia waiting outside his building. How did it go? She asked nervously. Instead of answering, he kissed her. Right there on the sidewalk, in front of the doorman and passing strangers and anyone who cared to look. When he pulled back, he was smiling. Harrison's gone. The company's pivoting back to education. And I don't care who knows that I'm completely in love with you. Nadia laughed, tearful and relieved. You're crazy. Probably. But I'm crazy about you, so it evens out. 6 months later, Nadia stood in Julian's penthouse, their penthouse now, putting the final touches on dinner. Her mother was coming. Julian had insisted, had converted one of the guest rooms to be fully accessible, had hired a nurse to help with Lorraine's care. You're part of my life, he'd said simply. That means your mother is too. Nadia had cried for an hour. Now, as she heard the key in the door, she turned to see Julian helping Lorraine inside, the older woman laughing at something he'd said. Mama. Baby girl. Lorraine hugged her daughter tight, then pulled back to look around. Lord have mercy. You weren't kidding about the windows. Wait until you see the sunset, Julian said warmly. It's spectacular. Over dinner, Nadia watched the two most important people in her life talk and laugh, watched her mother treat Julian like he was just a man. Not a billionaire, not her daughter's employer, just someone who loved Nadia and deserved kindness in return. Later, after Lorraine had been settled in her room, Julian found Nadia on the balcony, looking out at the city. Penny for your thoughts? He asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. I'm thinking about that night. At the bistro. With Marcus. That asshole. She smiled. If he hadn't humiliated me, I wouldn't have been walking down that street. You wouldn't have seen me. None of this would have happened. I would have found you eventually, Julian said softly. Maybe it would have taken longer. Maybe we would have wasted more time. But I would have found you. Some people are meant to be seen. She turned in his arms. I never thought I could have this. This kind of love. This kind of life. You deserve this and more. He kissed her gently. You deserve everything. And standing there, wrapped in his arms, Nadia finally believed it. 2 years later, Nadia stood in front of a classroom of community college students, teaching Introduction to American Literature. She'd finished her degree. Julian had insisted, had cleared her schedule, had told her that her dreams mattered as much as his. She'd graduated with honors. Started teaching part-time while working on her master's. The students looked at her with respect, with curiosity, with the belief that she had something valuable to offer. Because she did. She'd learned that worth wasn't given by others. It was inherent, unshakable. It existed whether anyone acknowledged it or not. After class, she met Julian for lunch at a small cafe, not the Too Bright bistro where Marcus had looked at her with contempt, but a quiet neighborhood place where they knew her name. How was class? He asked. Perfect. She smiled. One of my students said Toni Morrison changed her life. Morrison has that effect. They ate slowly, talking about nothing important, their hands linked across the table. Later, walking home through the city that had once felt so indifferent, Nadia thought about all the versions of herself she'd been. The invisible housekeeper, the daughter caring for her mother, the woman who'd been humiliated with $5 in her purse. All of those women had been worthy of love. They'd always been worthy. It had just taken finding someone who truly saw her, and learning to see herself, to finally believe it. Some loves don't arrive suddenly. They appear like morning light, unnoticed at first, but impossible to forget once felt. And when they arrive, they don't just change your circumstances. They change the way you see yourself, the way you understand your place in the world. Love doesn't make you worthy, but it can help you remember you always were.